What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some r/am I the butthole. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below. But if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, as it all massively helps out this channel. It really does. And just a thank you for being with me on Friday for the live stream. I wasn't posting the last couple of days properly because I've been a bit ill. And no, I wasn't hungover from Friday, I promise. But the support on the live stream was just phenomenal as always. You guys are just absolutely amazing, and we did have some upgrades and members and all that sort of stuff with Patreon and YouTube, so I got to announce those. We had Elsboa who upgraded their Patreon. We had Always Wondering join us. We had also had Yuakina upgrading their Patreon pledge. Then we had, here we go, Judas Blackheart, Brandy Phillips, SH, Matt RG with a rejoin, Jake Taylor with a rejoin, Lady J, Sharon Mpufu, and D-Bear. Thank you so much for your love, support, and time, and for everyone for spending 20 minutes out of your day to be here. Thank you so much, and let's crack on with today's stories. You lovely bunch of people. Much love, guys. Now, today's first story is from One Moose 9. Am I the arsehole for not informing my neighbours that we are moving? My husband and I have lived in a beautiful and sought after condo community located on a lake for 3 years. We absolutely love it, but we want to be closer to family, and since it's a seller's market, we want to take advantage. That being said, I came home today at 1 PM and was ambushed by two of my neighbours asking all sorts of questions. Some VA realtor called asking about your unit. Are you leaving us? Where are you moving? What are you going to do for work when you move? We know a great realtor you should use. We have friends and family that would love to buy it. How much are you asking? If we had a cordial relationship or in a first name basis, I wouldn't have a problem answering most, if not all of these questions. But these people don't even know what my husband and I do for a living. They could not care less about us, except for now, they want our condo. I basically brushed off all their questions and didn't give them any answers. Fast forward to now and our HOA email is blowing up. They CC'd every single unit, including us, and everyone on the board to complain that we didn't give current owners a heads up and that their friends and family wouldn't get first dibs. They also went on to say that if a bidding war were to happen, it wouldn't be fair and that they shouldn't have to pay more than what we paid for it. If it were in the bylaws that we had to give notice, we would have, but it's not, and now we've basically been put on blast. Am I the arsehole for not telling our neighbours that we are moving because they want our unit? Now, after the first initial set of questions on this post, I thought they might have been doing themselves like a disservice by not telling them this information, because they could have just sold it to them, made a bit of profit if they was going to pay what they wanted and then move on. But they wanted it at net value. I mean, what? So they didn't want to pay any extras on top of it, which is it's insane. I'm sure they wouldn't do that with their own house, so you're definitely not going to be the arsehole in this one. But Sleepy Feline says, not the arsehole. Property is an investment. Of course you can sell it more than you bought it for. And Type 1 Error says, are you kidding me? They wanted a heads up to give it to their friends and family in the expectation they would get it for a better price. These people are deluded, as they are entitled to expect that you would take a lower price on your sale to do total strangers a solid. Not the arsehole. And JJB Star says your neighbours are a justification for moving. And Correct Success says, not the arsehole, they're just mad, prices are high and they can't get a good deal for themselves or family. And one more from Burning Wagon says, not the arsehole, wait, hold up. They think they should get net zero on this. That's cute. Here's what you do. Bidding war that has a massive book of business and make as much money as you can. I'd go one step further and say I won't sell to your friends and family because of HOA email. When they send that email out as well, that's insane behaviour. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. And this next one is from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for not giving my mum the money I saved up that she really needs to save her and her baby's lives? I'm the fourth oldest of 10 kids. My mum is currently pregnant with her 11th. Yep. Ever since I was 12, I wanted to move out. I've been saving up money. It's been hard actually not spending, but I'm now 21 and I've saved $7,000. My mum knows I work full time, but I lied and told her it was unpaid internship, otherwise she would have made me give her the money. Her boyfriends literally don't have money, so she has my siblings and I's check since forever. I'm sick of living in this house with so many people. There's nothing more than I want then to move away and live by myself finally. My friend and I always talked about moving to New York, and her uncle, who is super, offered us an apartment at a really good rate recently. The idea went from being just something we talked about to actually being a reality. Once I secured a job interview, I knew it was time to tell my mum I was moving out. Despite having 4 older siblings, none of them have moved out. I didn't know how she'd react. She was extremely upset and asked me how I had the money to move somewhere as expensive as New York and pay rent. I admitted to saving money, and that's when she lost her shit. She started screaming up how I know she's struggling to pay rent and pay for her baby's formula and diapers, and one of her twin toddlers had to have surgery 2 years ago and I didn't offer a dime, and they're my siblings. 2 weeks before my flight, my mum fainted at her job and was hospitalised. They said that the pregnancy was too high risk. She had problems with her other pregnancies before this one and almost died with her last pregnancy, and they advised her to abort, otherwise the baby could cost her life. She refused to abort, saying she's been getting pregnant since she was 14. It wasn't going to kill her now. She was in hospital on bed rest, and she called me begging to send her some of the money, not even all, to pay for a special procedure to help her baby. I literally can't afford to waste a dime. Money isn't going to last long, and even with a job lined up, I didn't want to risk potentially wasting all my money before I even got to New York, so I told her I couldn't. She went off calling me an arsehole, saying moving isn't as important as her and her baby's life. All of my siblings are saying I'm evil and that I can wait to move later, and that I'm young and I'm a major arsehole for not helping at all. Once I get more stable, I do intend to send her money. I offered $500 and she hung up. I don't know if I'm wrong or not. Thank you all for your advice. I feel much better about my decision. I'm staying at my friend's house with my bags until our flight tomorrow. Your words of encouragement have been nothing but amazing. I don't feel bad at all anymore. Oh man, this one was an incredibly sad one for me to read. I don't know why this one got to me so much. It's just trying to picture being in that family of that many children, and the mother seems to be, well, she's certainly manipulating this child for their money, And what's 7K gonna cover in, I'm assuming this is in the US. And that's no offense to OP. OP should definitely keep their money, but 7K won't even touch any of those medical bills. I'm damn sure of that for a pregnancy. And I'm just basing this off what I've seen in previous stories. How much like a simple surgery costs is absolutely ridiculous. I think OP definitely needs to get out of that situation, absolutely, and maybe even go no contact for a little bit while she gets her head together, because it must, putting yourself in OP's position, it must be hard living in that household all the time, knowing your siblings, you're leaving your siblings who are probably going to be going through very similar things to what you've experienced. I think OP just needs to get out of that situation right now so they can make some rational decisions for themselves and maybe help their siblings in the future. Because I'm sure at some point down the line, siblings will be contacting OP for some advice on how they can potentially get themselves out of that situation too. Their current household is just unsustainable, and what the mum is doing now is just proving that. It's very, very selfish in my opinion, so definitely not the arsehole. And never says not the arsehole. Your mum keeps getting knocked up by losers who can't or won't support their kids. Don't give her a dime and get the fuck out. And Bob the driver says not the arsehole, the hospital won't refuse life-saving care to a patient, and also anything complicated is going to cost way more than 7K. Your mum's bullshitting you in order to make you stay. Run. An OK professional says not the arsehole. If you hadn't told your mum you had money, she wouldn't be asking for it. Hospitals can't refuse emergency/life-saving care. The doctor made a recommendation but she decided against it. They will send her a bill. You should leave and go no contact for a little while. It seems your mum has manipulated all of your siblings, especially the ones older than you who remain. Go live your best life. You'll be an inspiration to the younger ones at the very least, whom will be dreaming of escaping. Edited to say, thank you for the awards and upvotes. And no recording says, OP, baby, please listen to me. Please move out ASAP. Just move out and make a life for yourself. Your family is toxic as fuck. Your mother should have thought of how to raise her kids before having them, and it's not your responsibility to raise your siblings. She knew getting pregnant the 11th time was risky. Every woman knows her body, yet she went ahead with it. Baby, if you stay back, then I'll take away all your savings and you'll be stuck there forever. Please leave and don't ever don't ever feel guilty for making yourself your priority ever. You're your priority, no one else. They will sort something out for the procedure. If there is really any procedure, that is. Not the arsehole. And one more from Eat the Bunny 2 saying, not the arsehole. She's full of shit. And our next story is from Cut Contact with Mum. Am I the arsehole for excluding my mum from the baby shower until she sincerely apologises to my husband for how she's been about him not being present at our last birth? My daughter was born over a year and a half ago. A couple of months before I was due, my husband experienced something very traumatic that I'd rather not say here. Soon after, he was experiencing severe panic attacks that sometimes came out of nowhere, but usually triggered by any sort of stress. He was so worried how he'd be during our daughter's birth, and I decided maybe it was better if he wasn't present. We were still waiting for him to get approval for a therapist, and his panic attacks would get really bad. Being in the delivery room didn't feel like the best choice. My husband agreed. He felt so awful about it, but I knew this wasn't his fault. My sister was there instead, and he stayed in the waiting room with his family, who helped him when his anxiety would spike. The delivery went well, and my husband finally got help he desperately needed. My mum was the only one who seemed to have a problem with the fact he wasn't with me doing his job as a husband/father by supporting me. She knew about the anxiety problem, why it was happening, and why he hadn't been able to get any help yet. But she felt like he should have just sucked it up and been there for me. I put my foot down a few times when she went directly to him and made him feel bad for failing his first task as a father. She'd apologise, my husband would forgive her and decide to give her another chance. We didn't see much of anyone after because of COVID, and then we were busy with my daughter, so didn't talk to her much either. We found out months ago we're pregnant with our second child, and my husband is ecstatic. I am too. We're talking to my parents on Zoom, and my mum asked if he's actually going to be there this time, or if he's going to flip out again and decide to miss the birth of his baby. My husband got silent afterwards, and he was very serious. That's a sore subject for him because he still feels extremely guilty, despite being such a caring and devoted father to our girl. I got so mad at my mum. This time, she doesn't want to apologise because it was just a simple, valid question, but it's the way that she said it. He manages anxiety very well, thanks to his lovely therapist, and hasn't suffered an episode like that in a long time, even in very stressful situations. We've had a few of those last year. She knows all this, so I know her question was just to make a jab at him. I've been refusing all contact and said she's not welcome to my baby shower until she sincerely apologises to him. Because she refused, we haven't talked at all, and she's still uninvited. Some are not happy we're taking this route. My husband is on the same boat. They feel she has a right to be concerned for me, and I shouldn't be keeping her from our family. It's kind of been wearing me down, so I'd like to know what others might think about this. No, you're totally right in the situation. Your mum's being shitty, and one of the lines that's instantly jumped out to me, well, a lot of it jumped out to me, but where it says, she knows all this, so I know her question was just to make a jab at him when she done it like the second time round. And, you know, that's not expressing concern for you at all, like you said. It's taking a jab at his mental health. Who the hell does that, man? Your husband sounds like a great man, someone who looks after his kids and, you know, was devastated not being able to be at the birth of his child, and he took a step back for the safety of everyone and then gets mocked for it. Come on now. Absolutely not the arsehole in this situation. I'd stand your ground. She needs to, I don't know what your mum can do to make this up, but she needs to do something and maybe actually research what your husband is going through at this moment about panic attacks and anxiety and just mental health in general, because clearly she just does not get it. Not the arsehole. But don't trust it says not the arsehole. She's lucky you're giving her a chance to make good. Can I just say your husband is such a noble man? Giving up being in the delivery room for the birth of his child for the good of everyone at this time is such an honourable thing to do. It must have been one of the hardest decisions to make. Hats off to this man. And Toga Suck says not the arsehole, she wasn't expressing concern. She was mocking your husband's struggle with his mental health. You want to know if you're an arsehole for uninviting her to a party because of it? Hell, you would not be the arsehole if you completely cut off all contact from her grandkids until she sincerely apologised, including an admission that she was intentionally being antagonistic with the word she chose, and a demonstration that she is trying to change as a person. And Ment says not the arsehole, if this is genuine concern for you, she's expressing it in a rude, cruel and paternalistic way. You're an adult, you've picked your partner, you've talked the issue through. You let her know multiple times that you are fine with it. By this point, she has to respect that, even if she disagrees. I'm not even sure this is protectiveness, because if it were, this would be a very unproductive way to try and help. Maybe she is trying to bully him into going out of a concern for you, but I don't see in what world that would solve more problems in your marriage than it would create, especially given that he is going this time and she already knows it. It's just completely unnecessary. So to me, it honestly reads more as an unnecessary, cruel and abusive remarks than mama bear mode. And Charlie's main says, not the arsehole, it's none of your mother's business who was in the room when you gave birth. You and your husband have done nothing wrong. Congratulations, by the way. All the best. And Sci-Fi Emma says, not the arsehole, you and your husband are staying strong as partners as you should. Mum has a very 1950s view of mental health and needs to educate herself. And our next story is from Work Trip Throwaway. Am I the arsehole for not taking my wife along on a work trip? I, 29 male, was recently chosen to go to a 2-day work conference. It's in my state at a Native American casino and is about a 2-hour drive away. I've been married to my wife, 28 female, for about 7 months, but we've been together for several years. When I was given the chance, I was told that spouses and families were welcome, but I chose not to tell my wife that she was invited. I just told her that I was going to be gone for a couple of days for work. Yes, this was a lie by omission and I felt bad for it, but I had my reasons. Firstly, I'm kind of an introvert, and as much as I love my wife, she can be a little smothering at times, and I really just wanted a couple of days to myself. Secondly, and this is related, she tends to make things about her. I felt as if I owed it to my work to just concentrate on the training, then relax when it was done, without having the distraction of dealing with her wants, needs and demands. Let me make this clear, again, I love my wife. Also, I wasn't up to no good in any way, I just wanted a couple of days to attend to my own needs. So, I went to the conference without her. Anyway, via a Facebook post with my co-worker, who also went to the conference, she ended up finding out that spouses were indeed welcomed. She was irate. I can accept that I'm an idiot for thinking that she wouldn't find out, but I had my reasons why I wanted to go to this conference alone, so I'm not so sure if I'm the arsehole. Am I? Now, this one's a pretty simple one in my book because, I think you're going to be the arsehole. I think the comments are going to pretty much confirm it as well, because this is just the simple thing of, you should have just told her beforehand. It's really that simple. You say she makes things about herself, but you're partners now. You're life partners now. You need to be able to talk about these simple things. Yes, everyone's entitled to a little me time every once in a while, and I would hope she would understand that if you brought this up to her and said you'd prefer to just be concentrating on your training and things like that, and you just needed that little bit of me space just to recoup. And I think, a rational person would get that, right? But old ginger guy says, you're the arsehole. If you didn't want her there, then you should have explained the situation and had an honest conversation with her, rather than her finding out the way she did. You married her so you know who she is. If that makes you uncomfortable, then that's something you need to work on. And Goblin Man the Fur says, you're the arsehole. Do you want her to think you're a cheater? Because this is how you do it. And Alina says, you're the arsehole for lying about it. Such a stupid thing to do. If you already feel your needs are not welcome into your so young marriage, what will you do 10 years from now? You are entitled to some time alone. Not the arsehole for needing it, but you went about it so wrongly. And this next story comes from Immortal Fox. Am I the arsehole for getting annoyed with my girlfriend for recommending I make crepes instead of pancakes? I, 21 male, am relatively good at cooking, while my girlfriend, 20 female, is not, largely relying on things like macaroni, instant noodles, and other varieties of instant food. Tonight, we went to the store because I realised instead of eating takeout again, I could make myself pancakes and save a couple of bucks. So I brought my girlfriend along with me, and while I was discussing the plan with her, she chimed in with, "Ooh, can you make crepes?" To which I replied with, "No, they're harder and I don't want to deal with that." Keep in mind it's 10 PM at this point, and I just want to make food so I'm not starving in the morning. So she goes on to tell me, they're not that hard, just add extra milk and I cut her off and told her she could make them then. She got quiet about it and we made our purchase and got on our way. It's worth noting at this point that she had already eaten dinner at her place with her family, so I was cooking for myself, not for us. Later, after I finished making the pancakes in the pancake maker I got a while back, I sat down and while we were talking, had called them waffles and corrected myself before saying something along the lines of, pancakes, waffles, same thing, to which she jumped in and was like, crepes. I replied with, I don't want to hear the word crepes out of you again. You've got a 1-month ban on the word crepes. This was a joke. Half jokingly, but there was a bit of seriousness in it. There was a bit of back and forth, but I ultimately summed it up that it seemed rude to me that she would immediately try and change the food that I was making for myself to something that she wanted despite already eating. And I told her it was like if I was making sushi and she asked me to make sashimi instead. Yes, I know those aren't necessarily equivalent, but the point stands. She got up and left, and when I went to talk to her, she started crying and saying that I was rude for calling her out about constantly mentioning crepes, but I feel like her trying to change the meal I was making for myself to better suit her wants was out of line. Edit, I went down and we discussed what happened and why things panned out the way they did. She apologised for coming across as pushy, and I apologised for being a douche nozzle, and then we danced a bit and went to bed. Soon as you said, pancakes, waffles, same thing, you became the arsehole to me, my friend. I'm just joking. Anyway, now I was reading a part of this and it gave me really uneasy vibes, and I'm not sure why, and I'm not suggesting anything sinister or anything like that, but it's just the way the wording came across. It made me feel really uneasy. I just wanted to throw it out there. It's where it said, I replied with, I don't want to hear the word crepes out of you again. You got a 1 month ban on the word crepes. And it said this was a joke, half jokingly, but there was a bit of seriousness in it. But as I was reading it, I was like, ooh, this doesn't sound very good. But that was all I was going to say on that. That's just the way it feels. But we'll start straight away with Peanut Butter Vibe saying, you're the arsehole. You low-key don't even sound like you really like your girlfriend. The way you referred to her in the post and comments. There are a lot of little judgments in almost everything. And J Lord 9 says, sorry, but you're the arsehole. This is normal toe stepping that is going to happen at some point in any interpersonal relationship due to proximity. You have to react better than this if you want to be with anybody, not just her. Just say you want pancakes instead and make your pancakes. This is not hard. And Ocean Spy says, I've been in abusive relationships before and this made me anxious. I'm not saying that's what's happening here, but something isn't sitting right with me about all this, especially the ban and trying to control what she can and can't say. You're the arsehole. And one more from Thyra saying, you're the arsehole. She brought the idea of making crepes in the store, probably one-on-one herself, which isn't rude because she's just proposing an idea and it doesn't seem like she pushed the issue. Plus, it's 10 PM, most people eat by 8 PM or sooner, so it's not a crazy idea that she may have wanted a crepe or two since they can also be eaten as a dessert. She brought up crepes again because it's related to the topic at hand. Yet again, not an arsehole thing to do because she wasn't asking for crepes, just comparing differences. And after only 2 mentions, you make a rude comment to her. Yeah, you're the arsehole. Now, what do you guys think of today's stories? Do you think they are arseholes? Not the arseholes? Everyone sucks here. Don't forget to leave your verdicts down below if you choose to do so. If you don't, that's absolutely fine as well. But I hope you did enjoy today. And thank you for spending time with me, spending 20 minutes or so today with the video. It means the absolute world to me. It's absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much for doing you. And I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.